Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a 12-team PPR mock draft from the #1 overall spot on ESPN's fantasy football website. Inside of today's video, I'm going to be discussing all of my thought process throughout this draft, why I'm making certain selections, and how I feel about how the draft is going overall, if I feel like any picks are a bit of a reach, if I feel like someone got a nice steal of a pick inside of the draft. I'm going to be talking about all of that inside of today's video, but before we get into this mock draft, I want to ask if at any point inside of today's video that you end up enjoying, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship. And real quick, I'd really like if you guys could subscribe to the Awesemo Fantasy Football channel. That is where you guys are going to be getting an additional video from myself Monday through Friday. So if you want more content from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button to them as well every single day, Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, I do not believe I'll be posting on there. But now we are on the clock at the #1 overall pick, and to me, right now, this is a very, very chalk pick. The RB1, the overall #1 pick on the board right now, to me, is Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, when you look at it, is just, when this guy is healthy, he is just so much better than even the running back 2. Last season, if you compare him and Alvin Kamara, this guy was averaging like 5 points per game more than him in every single format, and he finished as the running back #2. That is Alvin Kamara. From a points per game perspective, Christian McCaffrey is just a dominant running back in the NFL. He's probably the only running back in the NFL who you can rely on to score 30 plus points every single week. If he scores less than 30 points, you feel like you got robbed by him. When he scores 26 points, you're like, damn, Christian McCaffrey normally scores 30. He's just a cheat code in fantasy football because of the fact that he just gets so many receptions on this team, and that helps you get so many points in a PPR or half PPR format for fantasy football. I am very excited to have the #1 overall pick and get Christian McCaffrey, even though the #1 overall pick is not really my favorite spot because I kind of dislike waiting a while to be picking into the second round. But the good thing, though, when you are at the #1 overall pick, you still do get that turn at the second round into the third round. You get 2 picks in a row, which is one of the big reasons why I like being the 12th pick in the draft, because I get 2 players that I feel like could be first round selections because they're going at the 1-2 turn, but I still feel pretty confident with my team regardless of where I'm drafting. Let me know down below in the comment section where your guys' ideal drafting spot is for fantasy football in 2021, and has it changed this season? Were you previously someone who liked drafting early, now you like drafting later, or have you always been around the same boat? Because for me, I've always been someone who favors picking from around pick 9 to 12 in a 12-team league. After I went with Christian McCaffrey, you can see at the bottom right, Dalvin Cook came off the board, followed by Saquon Barkley, Travis Kelce, Derrick Henry, and Ezekiel Elliott. If I'm being completely honest with you, the fact that Travis Kelce is going at the 104 is ludicrous. It's just crazy. I zoomed in a little bit so you guys could have a better view, but it's just so crazy because I understand why you'd want to pick Travis Kelce in the first round, because he just has so much safety. Week in, week out, you don't have to worry about having to draft another tight end. You don't have to worry about week in, week out trying to pick up another tight end to stream the position. You don't have to worry about that at all when you pick Travis Kelce in the first round, which I'm fine with. But drafting him at the 104, when you can have a legitimate horse fucking running back, that just seems like an insane person move. I'm fine taking Kelce at 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12. 8 is probably the highest I would pick him. 4 just seems a little bit crazy, but if that's where his ADP is on ESPN, like a lot of people have been telling me, in ESPN, you're going to have to be paying a supreme price to be getting Travis Kelce inside of the first round, which I completely disagree with. After Travis Kelce came Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, the Ewok, that's what he's looking like in that picture, Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill, and Jonathan Taylor. Alvin Kamara at the 107 is an excellent steal in my opinion. I think that Alvin Kamara should easily be a top 3, if not a top 4 pick in fantasy football. I think Saquon Barkley is going to start to fall out of favor with a lot of people with all of this news that he is going to be potentially getting a decreased workload from weeks 1 through 4. I'm still fine drafting him relatively high, but I think I'm going to have to bump him down as well if that is what it seems like is going to be happening once we get to late August or early September when you're doing your fantasy drafts. After Tyreek Hill and Jonathan Taylor came Davante Adams at pick number 10. Now, I'm still fine taking Davante Adams late in the first round with the news that Aaron Rodgers seems like he's not going to come back. But there's also still a chance, even though I reported yesterday, that my mind has definitely changed, though. I do now believe with that report that Aaron Rodgers turned down the biggest contract in the NFL, that he doesn't want to be on the Green Bay Packers. But there's still a chance that, you know what the Packers do? They don't trade him. And he's stuck. Does he want to opt out, or is he going to play for the Green Bay Packers? That is still something that could end up happening, so he could still be the Packers quarterback, but I am a little bit more worried about Davante Adams now. After Adams came Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, and Stephon Diggs. Aaron Jones is also a guy that I'm going to have to pull back in on my rankings. Right now, I think he's my running back number 6. I'm going to have to shoot that down a little bit if he ends up with Jordan Love as his quarterback, because Jordan Love's not going to be able to move the ball as effectively down the field to get Aaron Jones into smashing into a touchdown range. Aaron Jones is one of those running backs that I could project to score a shit ton of touchdowns and would feel pretty confident in it if Rodgers was the quarterback, but if not, I think Jordan Love probably will struggle at the beginning, so it will be pretty worrisome to be drafting Jones inside of the first round. At 13, we have 9-inch Nicholas Chubb, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Gibson, Najee Harris, and Darren Waller, followed by Joe Mixon. Darren Waller in the second round. Now, I'm a guy who loves Darren Waller. I beat the drum for Darren Waller inside of the third round, but inside of the second round, you have to be absolutely Looney Tunes to be reaching that high to be picking Darren Waller. In some leagues, Kelsey falls into that position, so you are getting very bad value, in my opinion, drafting Waller that high when he could have easily fallen to you if you're in the middle of the draft inside of the third round. After Joe Mixon came Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Calvin Ridley. We're about 2 picks away now, so I should probably start looking at the board. DeAndre Swift, very, very high in the rankings of ESPN. J.K. Dobbins kind of buried a little bit here. Darrell Henderson screaming up the draft boards after the injury to Cam Akers. Crazy that he's ranked that high, but it doesn't surprise me because I kind of said, hey, he's probably going to end up being like a 3rd, 4th round pick. I'm comfortable taking him in the 5th round, so we'll see what it is after this. DeAndre Swift here on the board. I'm not ultra confident in any of these running backs. I like J.K. Dobbins. I like Chris Carson as well, but let me look at the wide receiver position here. A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson. So many talented wide receivers here that I feel like it would be an extreme reach to draft one of those running backs at this point. So I'm probably going to go with a double wide receiver stack. First, securing Justin Jefferson, wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings. A couple of weeks ago, I was not as high on Justin Jefferson, but now I honestly believe that Justin Jefferson's probably going to have a repeat of his 2020 NFL season, if not even better, after having another year under his belt in the NFL. And then the next pick here is between A.J. Brown and Keenan Allen and Allen Robinson. Those are my highest ranked wide receivers on the board right here. I also like Terry McLaurin. Personally, I'm going to lean with A.J. Brown. I think he's still going to be able to do a lot of damage in that offense, even with Julio Jones there. I think a lot of people are really trying to bite into that narrative and move A.J. Brown outside of the top 10, which I think is a little bit crazy. Sure, he might take a slight hit, but it could also help him out a ton that Julio is there, because now there's going to be someone else by his side, so you can't just double cover A.J. Brown. You can't really double cover Julio Jones, and if you end up doing that, then somehow Derrick Henry is going to be wide open up the middle to slam your defense directly in the ass. So I think the Tennessee Titans are in a very good situation here. Even if they are a pretty run-heavy team, A.J. Brown still should be able to eat. Michael Thomas finally getting a corrected ADP, at least in ESPN, going at the back of the second round. In Yahoo, in NFL, I've been seeing him go a lot in the third round. Same thing with Underdog Drafters. It is a complete and utter fucking steal to get Michael Thomas inside of the third round, because would you be surprised at all if Michael Thomas returned to being what he was a couple of years ago in 2019, where he had the most targets in the NFL, where he was the undisputed wide receiver 1. He was spitting on your opponents every single game for your team. It was beautiful. If you had Michael Thomas and Christian McCaffrey in 2019, you probably could have just started your quarterback and they didn't even have to actually play in the game. You could have probably benched half your team, went out there with Christian McCaffrey, went out there with Michael Thomas, your kicker, and your defense, and you probably would have won. That's just how strong Michael Thomas and Christian McCaffrey were in 2019. After A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson on the turn, DeAndre Swift came off the board, followed by Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins, Keenan Allen, and Chris Carson. Now, if you guys have watched my channel for a while, or you know how I draft in fantasy football, I'm a very running back heavy drafter. I like to snag 2 running backs right off the rip in the first 3 rounds and then wait a little bit, then pick up a guy in like the 4th, 5th round, and then really start to hammer in on the wide receivers because I see so much value later in the draft at the wide receiver position. But at the end of the day, with those running backs available, I felt like it would have been a little bit of a reach, maybe not on J.K. Dobbins, but I don't know. I just wasn't really feeling it. Hopefully inside of the 4th round, I am able to secure a guy like Mike Davis. The ADP of these players are so drastically different on each platform you plan. If you guys are drafting for your fantasy draft, if it's on ESPN, I suggest that you mock draft on ESPN. If it's on NFL, I suggest you mock on there. If it's on Yahoo, I suggest you mock on there because it really does have such a difference what the board looks like on your screen to what a player is going to pick. Because, hey, you might not be super high on Myles Gaskin, but you see him ranked up here, you're like, damn, maybe these ESPN people know more than I do, and you just take Myles Gaskin. Shit like that happens all the time. So make sure that you are very aware of the ADP on the website you're going to be drafting in. If you are drafting with a real-life board for fantasy football, that is when the ADP gets thrown directly out the fucking window. If you draft with a real draft board, crazy shit happens. That's at least what I've noticed when I've done it. So there's really no ADP for that. It's just shit hits the fan pretty instantly. So looking at the board right now, we are a couple of picks away. After Josh Jacobs came George Kittle, me Timbers, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, Robert Woods, David Montgomery, Darrell Henderson, CeeDee Lamb, and Adam Thielen. CeeDee Lamb, very good value inside the 4th round. He's normally a 3rd round pick in Yahoo drafts. Again, like I'm saying, make sure that you're mocking on the website you're going to be drafting on so that you can have a much better idea of what's going to happen in drafts. After CeeDee Lamb came Adam Thielen. So we see Darrell Henderson at pick 39, exactly where I think his ranking was on the screen earlier. I believe that's where it was. That's not super crazy, but guys, I told you yesterday that I like Darrell Henderson. I think Darrell Henderson is a very capable NFL running back for fantasy football. But remember that we're so far out from the NFL season. We're so far out from these fantasy drafts to temper your expectations right now because in my opinion, there's a pretty solid chance that they add a Le'Veon Bell, that they add a Frank Gore, that they bring back Todd Gurley or something like that. Now, depending on which running back they bring back, or bring to this team will depend how confident I am in Darrell Henderson. If they bring in Frank Gore, then I'm still pretty confident in Darrell Henderson. But if Le'Veon Bell is there, we've seen Le'Veon Bell, what he's been in the past. He had a down year on the Chiefs and on the Jets, but if you honestly give him the actual rock correctly, then he could eat, and that would really hurt Darrell Henderson. So make sure you guys stay tuned for the breaking news videos that I post, and make sure that if you've ended up enjoying this video thus far through the first 4 rounds, to hit that subscribe button down below. So after CeeDee Lamb came Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson, Julio Jones, Myles Gaskin, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, and Travis Etienne inside of the 4th round. I hate that pick, and I'm going to talk about that in a couple seconds, but we are up on the board here looking at all positions. There's not really a tight end that's screaming my name right now. I do like Hawkinson, but with the fact that I only have 1 running back on my team, it is the best running back, so it's a-okay. I do want to feel a little bit more comfortable snagging at least one running back in this range. While I can probably wait on this running back, I believe Mike Davis is a 4th round draft pick to a 5th round draft pick. I think that Mike Davis could... Why does his head look so small compared to his fucking shoulder pads? He looks like Kanye in that music video where it's like, you're such a fucking hoe. I love it. If you know what I'm talking about, that's an excellent joke. But with Mike Davis, I believe he's the workhorse back in Atlanta. I don't think any of those running backs behind him can take his job, and I think he's an excellent pass catcher. I got Christian McCaffrey and Christian McCaffrey's backup from last year who fit that role like a glove in Carolina, but I don't really love Kareem Hunt. I think he's a safe pick, but I already feel super safe with my running backs, with Mike Davis and Mr. Christian McCaffrey, that I'm going to go for some upside in this pick, and I'm going to go for Tyler Lockett. Now, I am not the biggest fan of Tyler Lockett, but I recognize what this guy does for my team. He is the complete opposite of safety. He's like putting a condom on and you already cut it in half and you're not even wearing the tip of it to hope that it stays on or something. You're wearing it like a cock ring or something down there. So that's what it's like drafting Tyler Lockett, because some games, this guy is going to drop a 50 burger on your opponent. He is going to take your opponent's head and slap it around like Mike Tyson, all right? But then there's going to be the other games where he does the reversal and he choke slams you through your fucking computer monitor when you put him in your roster because he drops like 4 points. But that's the risk I want to be taking when I feel ultra safe with my roster. When I know what Christian McCaffrey is, he's like 30 points a game. When I know Mike Davis is probably going to be around 14, 15 points a game, but with the upside to drop 20 to 25 in any given matchup, and then I like Jefferson, I like AJ Brown so much, why not put that super upside pick on my roster that if all things go correctly, I can drop a 2-hundo bomb right in the mouth of my opponent. That's the kind of upside I'm looking for. So very interesting in this draft that maybe everyone is ultra sharp because we see after Mike Davis and Tyler Lockett, Cooper Kupp, Lamar Jackson, Kareem Hunt, we don't see a quarterback go until the 5th round. Even with some bozo taking Travis Kelce inside the top 5, it still takes a while to see the first quarterback. That is how you should be drafting, in my opinion, waiting on the quarterback position. But in a majority of your drafts, the quarterback, like Pat Mahomes, like Lamar Jackson, they're going to go in like the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round. So there's really no way that they ever fall this far unless you're in a very sharp draft with a bunch of guys who are super into fantasy, who understand that quarterback's value in real life, they're super fucking important. They're the most important player on the field. But obviously in fantasy football, they're just not. They're just not, because they're not awarded the points correctly. They don't really fucking matter. You can draft the quarterback in like the 12th round and be very happy. The running backs, the wide receivers are much more important in fantasy football. After Lamar came Kareem Hunt, Jamar Chase, Kenny Golladay, Titty Boy T. Higgins, Patty Mahomes, Brandon Ayuk, Mark Andrews, Cortland Sutton, and Josh Allen. A nice run of quarterbacks inside of the 5th round. You guys are going to notice that in a lot of drafts. Once one quarterback goes, people start to panic. The panic alarm goes off in their brain. They say, oh man, I didn't get my quarterback. Now I have to panic. I have to jump around and pick my quarterback now. Otherwise, they're not going to fall to me. And then the next guy thinks, holy shit, that guy took a quarterback. Now I need a quarterback. And it happens again and again. And the same thing happens at the tight end position. Maybe we'll see it in this draft. After Kyle Pitts came Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, DJ Hawkinson, Chase Edmonds, Robbie Anderson, Odell Beckham Jr., and Russell Wilson. Seeing a lot of quarterbacks go off the board inside of the 6th round as well. 1, 2, 3, 2 tight ends inside the 6th round as well. Interesting to see Kyle Pitts go above TJ Hawkinson. And I love the prospect that is Kyle Pitts. And I think this guy is going to have an illustrious NFL career where he is one of the better tight ends in the league come next season. But I think it might be a slow start. Normally, these rookie tight ends don't just come out the gate blasting off 1,000,000 points for fantasy football. Is it possible? Yes, it is definitely possible because Kyle Pitts is a generational tight end talent. But personally, I'd rather take the safety of TJ Hawkinson who went a couple of picks later because I feel like TJ Hawkinson is very safe because of how many targets he's going to get in Detroit. He's the best wide receiver on that team, and it is not even close. Looking at the running back position here, this is also going to technically be a reach. So if ESPN gives me a grade, they're going to slap me around a little, but I still feel pretty confident in that running back here. But looking at wide receiver, I'm not too sold on any of these guys. I do like Chase Claypool. So we're going to first go with Damian Harris. I do not believe in any which way that this is a reach at all. I believe that Damian Harris is the running back 1 in New England, and I believe that this team's going to be a lot better. The defense is a lot better, and they're going to be able to run the ball late in games. And now we're going to go ahead and snag another high upside wide receiver for maybe when I'm not feeling super dangerous with Tyler Lockett. I have a little bit more safety, but this is still a high upside pick in Chase Claypool, wide receiver of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deontay Johnson personally would be my favorite wide receiver in that offense for fantasy football because I think he is just a target monster. He sucks in balls like his name was Lisa Ann. But I still think that Chase Claypool is a fine wide receiver in this offense. I am a Juju hater. I can't stand Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he is the worst wide receiver on that team out of the big 3 in Johnson and him and Claypool. So I'm pretty happy with Claypool going a little bit later than Juju Smith-Schuster. I think that Chase Claypool scored a lot of touchdowns last year in his rookie year. I think he's going to continue to build on that in his sophomore season in the NFL, and I'm very confident in the Pittsburgh Steelers being a team that is ultra pass heavy. After I went with Chase Claypool came Justin Herbert the pervert, Laviska Shenault, Tampa Bay Tom Brady, and wiki DJ Chark. DJ Chark is a guy that I'm going to be talking about today later on the Awesemo Fantasy Football channel, but spoiler alert, I believe that DJ Chark is a fat bust because I believe that people are reaching on DJ Chark. I think there's a pretty solid chance that DJ Chark is not the wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville, and he's going in the 7th round. I think there's a pretty high chance that it's Marvin Jones, who's going in like the 10th, 11th, or 12th round. I think there's a pretty high chance that could be Laviska Shenault as well. It's probably a 33% chance. Then there's a 1% chance Tim Tebow is the fucking wide receiver 1 there in Jacksonville. I do not like that pick at all. After DJ Chark came Ryan Tannehill, Ronaldo Jones, Javonte Williams, Will Fuller, the 5th, Brandon Cooks, Dallas Goedert, Jerry Jeudy, Tyler Boyd, Curtis Samuel, Raheem Mostert, and Mr. Discount double check, Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know earlier on in this draft, I said I was going to hold my thought and explain something, and I figured out what it was when I scrolled back. It was Travis Etienne inside of the 4th round. Please, someone explain to me how that makes any fucking sense. How that makes any sense. Travis Etienne is behind James Robinson on the depth chart. He's going to be getting targets. He's going to be involved in this offense. But unless James Robinson gets hurt, in my opinion, this is a glorified running back by committee. RBBC. I'm avoiding it. I'm worried about it. I'd rather take the shot on James Robinson a couple rounds later. Where did James Robinson go? Is he off the board yet? James Robinson went at pick 69. Very nice. I like. So he went 2 rounds later. Come on, I'd rather take the upside shot on that. Even that's a little bit crazy. After Jerry Jeudy came Tyler, Boyd, Curtis Samuel, Raheem Mostert, Aaron Rodgers, Deebo Samuel, Leonard Fournette, and Devontae Smith. What an excellent pick inside the 8th round. A steal for Devontae Smith. Not really a steal because that's around where he's going, but I really like that pick. Hollywood Brown inside of the 8th round is one of the worst picks you can ever make. It just is. I don't know what anyone sees in Hollywood Brown. Don't know. Sure, he's fast as fuck. He's going to have like 3 good games. He's like Tyler Lockett, but like the Walmart version of Tyler Lockett. Because Tyler Lockett, at least, there's a way that they start really throwing the ball there in Seattle. There is no way Lamar Jackson is going to be airing it out enough for Hollywood Brown to put up more than 3 solid games next season. Just a stupid fucking pick, in my opinion. Sorry if Team Beck is watching this video. I apologize, but I hate that pick. Looking at your draft board, you want to always finish the draft with more running backs than wide receivers, and I've explained this multiple times, but it's because it's pretty hard to find a running back off the waiver wire that you can start each week. But off the waiver wire, there's a zillion wide receivers that you could just throw into your lineup, a nice plug-and-play wide receiver every single week. So that's why I like to have more running backs to have that nice depth. Looking at the board right now, I do kind of like Melvin Gordon inside of the 8th round. I think there's a pretty good chance, though, that it is a wash in Denver and it's a running back by committee system. But if Javonte Williams was to get hurt, I think with the upside enough there, I'm going to be taking him here inside of the 8th round. Looking at the tight end position, Noah Fant, I still like a decent amount, but not super confident in him. He's a guy that's an ultra-athletic tight end, one of those freak athlete tight ends in the NFL, but I don't feel like I love picking him. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about Noah Fant. It's probably just the quarterback situation there that worries me a little bit. Looking at quarterbacks, Joey Burrow still available. I'm pretty confident I do like Joe Burrow a lot. I like Jalen Hurts, but he may not even be the quarterback in Philadelphia because there's a lot of talk about Deshaun Watson becoming the quarterback. I like Stafford, but I've taken Joe Burrow on so many drafts recently that we're just going to go ahead and wait and end up drafting a wide receiver at this pick or a running back. We're going to go ahead and go with an upside pick here of Marvin Jones Jr. Hopefully I ended up picking him correctly. Yes, I did. So it's a little bit of a reach inside of the 9th round, but with this ADP, there's really no wide receivers here I like in this range. I don't love a Jarvis Landry. I don't love an Antonio Brown. I don't love a Jalen Waddle. I don't love any of those guys. I like Mike Williams a lot as well. I think with him being the X receiver in this Lombardi system, that's going to give him a whole lot of targets. I like him. I think that Marvin Jones is worth the upside shot of potentially being the wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville. I think by the end of August or by the end of training camp when we see preseason, we'll have a much better idea of what Trevor Lawrence sees on this team. If Lawrence likes Shenault as his guy, if he likes Chark as his guy, or if he likes Marvin Jones as his guy, or if he likes some other random wide receiver, if he likes Tim Tebow as his guy. You know, Tim Tebow seems like a nice guy. I don't even think he's going to make the team, but I'm rooting for Tebow since it seems like a lot of people really dislike the guy. While the ADP on ESPN is completely off its rocker, it's fucking stupid, I do really like the way the draft looks. I like the way Yahoo looks too, and NFL. They all have pretty solid looking drafts, but I don't like that they don't have the draft board, right? If someone's working at ESPN that watches my videos, please incorporate a draft board. please. I don't know what could be so complicated about doing that. Every other website has. It makes it way easier to see the picks, how the draft is going, compared to this pick history thing. I do not like it at all. So looking after Noah Fant came Antonio Brown, Robert Tonyan, Irv Smith, the Buccaneers defense. Don't draft a defense this early. Zach Moss, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, Corey Davis, Jalen Reagor, Cole Beasley, Mike Williams, Joey Burrow, Mike Gesicki, and Jonnu Smith. It appears that I may have fucked up waiting on tight end. I have. You done messed up, Aaron, as they would say in that fucking Key and Peele. Is this what it's called? Yeah, I'm going to wait. I like Tyler Higbee a lot. I don't know why his ADP is this far back, but I'm going to continue to wait on him. You should have to pick him here in the 11th round, but I'm not taking any of these guys. Quarterbacks, I like Stafford. I think it kind of falls off after Matthew Stafford, so he's going to be my pick here. I like Stafford in LA with Cam Akers injured. Maybe that means they have to lean more heavily on the pass-catching attack of the team, so I think that Matthew Stafford fits very well inside of this offense. I think that without Jared Goff there, Matthew Stafford is just a much better quarterback with a good head coach with strong wide receivers in Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. They also have a couple other wide receivers. I'm very confident Stafford being the guy week in and week out for my team. Again, I'm waiting on tight end. In reality, you probably have to take Tyler Higbee here in LA, and that's a nice stack, Stafford to Tyler Higbee. So I might just do it because it's very, I guess technically on ESPN it makes sense that you could wait and take him, but on all other leagues like NFL, Yahoo, there's no fucking way that Tyler Higbee falls that far because he definitely has top 12 potential with Matthew Stafford. So I'm going to go ahead and pick him. If you like a guy and you're like, you know what, maybe I can wait on him, but you're in love with picking this player, you're like, this is my guy. Or you're not ultra confident with these other guys because how sure am I about Evan Ingram? I don't even know if Evan Ingram is sure when he wakes up in the morning that he knows that he can catch the football, and I'm glad I took him because there's a run on tight ends. After I'm with Higbee, T.Y. Hilton came off the board, Michael Pittman, Hunter Henry, Eric Ebron, Evan Ingram. Why in the fuck is T.Y. Hilton going in the 11th round? Are people buying back in on T.Y. Hilton again? Like, I don't know. I can't draft T.Y. Hilton. I don't even trust Carson Wentz that much, but I certainly don't trust T.Y. Hilton when he is this old at this point. So looking at the picks off the board, after I went ahead and selected Matty Snapback and Tyler Higbee, T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman, Hunter Henry, Eric Ebron, Evan Ingram, Nelson Aguilar, Jamal Williams, Devin Singletary, Michael Carter, great pick. Trey Sermon, great pick. J.D. McKissick, Paris Campbell, Devontae Parker, Darnell, here comes the Mooney, Jacoby Myers, Elijah Moore, Ben Roethlisberger, James White, Tariq Cohen, Latavius Murray, and Gus Edwards. So the running backs are falling thin. Probably shouldn't have drafted Marvin Jones looking back now. Should have drafted another running back because this is the point in the draft where things have gone completely downhill. Alexander Mattison is useless unless Cook goes down, Pollard useless unless Zeke goes down. Tevin Coleman is the only one out of these guys that I could see actually becoming a starting running back for their team. I will take a wide receiver first here, though, with Russell Gage, wide receiver of the Atlanta Falcons. I like the fact that with Julio Jones gone, he could easily be and will be the wide receiver 2 on this team. I do like Terrell Williams as well to potentially be the wide receiver 1 in Detroit. While I think they're a shitty team, at the end of the day, he still could be the wide receiver 1 on the team, and that comes with a lot of value super late in drafts. Now the question is, do I want to take Tevin Coleman or do I just want to snipe the Dalvin Cook owner of Alexander Mattison and try to trade him to him? Obviously, this is a mock draft, so I can't do that. You can't trade him, but I'm thinking as if this was a real league, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draft Alexander Mattison. He has no value, though. Understand, zero value, zilch, if Dalvin Cook is healthy, because he just does not get into the game. So our final player is probably going to be a running back to make sure we have more running backs than wide receivers. Then we're going to draft our kicker and our defense. For defenses, guys, I've explained this a bunch of times in every video, but if you are new, the way you want to draft a defense is in fantasy football is just look to draft a defense that's playing a shitty opponent week 1 or an opponent that you think is going to turn the ball over, get sacked, and then you know what you do after week 1, they have that great game, then they have a hard opponent week 2, you know what you do? You just cut them out of your life, you drop them, and then bada bing, bada boom, step inside the room. I say that so much, I don't know if people actually like that saying, I just think it's a little bit funny. But boom, they're off your team, you add a new defense the next week. So we're going to add a running back here. I also think Ty Johnson actually has a decent role in New York, could become the running back 1. It's so grim back here. It really is. I think Salvin Ahmed, if something was to happen 2. Myles Gaskin would be the running back one there, so I'm going to end up taking him here with my final pick at the, or before I have to take a kicker and a defense. Now we got to take our kicker or a defense. First, we're going to go kicker, and we're going to get my boy Harrison Bucker the fucker, because I think he's probably the best kicker for fantasy. Young Ho Koo, my old bitch lame, but my Young Ho Koo also a good tick. So is Justin Tucker the fucker. Bucker and Tucker the fucker. Those are my favorite nicknames. Sorry for cursing a lot. Not really, not actually sorry, but I know some people don't like the crude words inside of these videos. So we're going to go with Harrison Bucker, and then we're going to be getting our defense with our last pick. Some websites allow you to not draft a kicker or a defense and load up on an extra running backs, extra wide receivers, which is something I would actually do, but you can't do it on ESPN. It's very annoying that in these drafts right now when you're drafting in July, people just leave when you get towards the end of the draft, and it kind of sucks, but it does speed up the video for you, so maybe you're happy with it, but it is kind of annoying because it doesn't give you the most accurate look into the draft. Sterling Shepard is a guy I haven't talked about at all. He's the wide receiver 2 in New York. At least that's what it appears from the beat reporters in New York, which should be very, very good for fantasy in the 15th round. That's a pretty solid dart throw, in my opinion, but now looking at the board again, I don't have the research done for which defense you want to be drafting. Will that be done soon? Yes, inside of August, I'll be talking about the defenses that I want to be drafting for like 20 minutes. It'll be a great time, a nice kumbaya talking about defenses. But right now in July, when I'm not doing a real fantasy draft, I don't really care all that much about the defense. So as we approach our final pick, thank you guys for watching. It really does mean a lot. We're going to go over my team, though, before we get out of here. Unless it kicks us out. I don't remember what ESPN did last time. I have to do a mock on NFL probably as the next one, because I have not done one yet on NFL. So our draft is complete. This is our roster, but this does not help us at all, this graphic. In my opinion, I wish we could pull up our team on here, but I don't think we can. I take back what I said about kind of liking ESPN's website for the draft. If it sucks. Doesn't even have a way to look at your team bigger on here. NFL has it, I believe. Yahoo definitely has it. So you got to look to the left of the screen here. I'll make myself a little bit bigger so you can see me here. Bada bing, bada boom. I said it again. Looking at the left side of the screen, we have our starting quarterback of the team is Matty Snapback. Our 2 running backs are Run CMC and Mike Davis. Our wide receivers are Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. Our tight end is Tyler Higbee. Our flex is Tyler Lockett. Our defense is the Dolphins defense. Our kicker is Harrison Bucker. Our bench is comprised of Damian Harris, Chase Claypool, Melvin Gordon, Marvin Jones, who's definitely a little bit of a reach, Russell Gage, Alexander Madison, and Salvin Ahmed. So if I had to pick which website I want to draft on, I want to draft on Yahoo because I think it looks better, but feels like I'm swindling pretty hard on ESPN. I feel like this is a very good team, and I would be ecstatic to have this going into my 2021 NFL season. So let me know down below what you guys thought about this team. Do you like the team? Do you hate the team? Let me know. I'd love to talk to you guys down below in the comment section. I hope you guys have a great rest of your guys' day. Again, subscribe to the Awesemo Fantasy Football YouTube channel. There will be an additional video later today on there from myself. There are also videos from other people, if you guys want to watch those as well. My co-workers at Awesemo, they're all great guys, all great people there. I really appreciate them, and I appreciate you guys so much. The amount of support we've seen recently is so amazing. It's so amazing. It's crazy when I really think about it, because 2 years ago, there was no one watching my videos. I'd post a video, and there'd be fucking crickets. Now I post a video, and there's hundreds of people that click so fast to watch, and it's just crazy. It really is. I'm not trying to get, like, emotional on here or something and be like, oh, Nick, you fucking bitch. But, yeah, it honestly is crazy. So make sure you guys check out the Awesemo Fantasy Football channel. You can check out their website as well, awesemo.com. You click on the Fantasy Football tab. I'll be writing articles every single day on there. So if you want to, maybe you can read in my voice. That's what my friends say they do. They read the articles in my voice, which is hilarious. Maybe you can do that. Get some extra content from me. I would really appreciate it. Even if you just clicked on it for a little bit, skimmed through it, and if you didn't enjoy it, that's okay, because there's going to be like multiple articles every single day for you guys to read on there. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy these videos. They're never going to go away. Once we hit August in how many days? Today is the 21st. Couple of days. I don't know how many months there are in August. I don't know how many days there are in August. So, you know, not in August. We're in July, I mean, until August. So once we hit August, it's 2 videos a day on this channel and an additional video on Awesemo. So make sure you guys subscribe for that. I'd really appreciate it. I love you guys all. Make sure you stay safe. Happy Wednesday? Happy Wednesday, my dudes. Goodbye.